or as we say, ret to go. All right, and we're off. So, quick bit of story that happens here at the beginning. Shantae starts having these kind of weird dreams of a power amassing within the world known as Sequin Land. This picks up right after the events of Risky's Revenge, where her powers have been stripped through the machinations of one Risky Boots. So in this, she's extremely human, has no magic at her disposal. But because, again, we're doing this in the New Game Plus mode for Pirate mode, we have access to all the pirate gear that give her the powers to progress through this game. So without, again, not having magic, no big deal when you're equipped with Risky's pirate items. And you're going to see them just destroy pretty much everything, especially early game with these things, as both are taking a good opportunity to hit some of those soldiers. I didn't see anyone get any RNG drops, unfortunately, so it's not wholly unexpected. It's semi-rare for those guys to give anything good, but they will obviously just take what they get and move forward with it here.
Both go for the pike ball strat.
Yep, sure did.
Yeah, you can actually do this part without a pike ball to save it for the later parts, but both opt to use it right now, so they both bank on it to have enough gems, probably?
Partially for gems. I think it's just more of a comfort level with dealing with the Ammo Baron, our first boss here. Who's a bit of RNG. You don't want to see him doing any charges like you see on Mijati's screen. You'd rather see him doing what he's doing on Tina's side. When he does do that cannon shooting phase, he has the ability to go upwards of 3 total shots, that third shot being a red one. Tina's getting some really favorable RNG here from what I can tell. Mijati's slightly trolled by comparison. This isn't going to be a huge gap that's set, and it's definitely not insurmountable. But, doing the pike ballless, as we were talking about there, would require extremely good timing on the whipping, plus throwing in 3 cannon shots on the ammo barricades down on the ground. And if you're not comfortable with that, you tend to run the risk of getting an additional cycle out of them because you either didn't whip them enough or just weren't quick enough to be able to get all that 10 strikes in that you need. So I don't fault either runner for going with the pike ball strats. Ideally, at least in Mijati's case, he's going to want to have one later for a bit of help in another room. Tina won't necessarily need it based on her routing, so it's a less of a risk for Tina, but generally they can make that up pretty easily. So we'll see what happens. All right, so after defeating our first boss, we get ourselves in trouble because, again, because of the events of Risky's Revenge, Ammo Baron is the true mayor of town, and we just assaulted him. So Shantae is in trouble with the law. You saw her get a court summons, and then she decides to go home and kind of take the edge off of the rough day by taking a bath. The unfortunate side of that is she doesn't actually own a bath, and as you can see, Risky Boots has found another way to trick and trap our half-genie hero, and has accused her of kidnapping her men and stealing all of her pirate gear. Well, I guess we can't deny the pirate gear part, considering the mode that we're in. What do you think, Trent?
I think she has something on it. Yeah, probably. But I'm more surprised that no one bats an eye when she actually gets in the bathtub to the town center without noticing by anyone.
Fair, but I think that a lot of the Denzians of Scuttletown are very scared of Risky Boots, and if she's dragging Shantae around in the bathtub, they're not going to be the ones to get in the way, generally. That's at least my stance on it. A lot of people wonder, how did she do it without getting that? No one, though, apparently decided to call the authorities, who Risky is obviously very, very scared of. She mentions the fact that if she went to the palace, she'd be clapped in irons. So there's a little bit of respect for the local authorities, but there's not a soldier to be found in town from what we can see here.
Well, I wouldn't go to the local authorities either. They just wanted to destroy the city.
Yeah, true. All right, so first a little bit of questing here. They went to go visit our good friend Sky to pick up that library card. That's definitely needed to move forward here. And then you're probably wondering about the save. That save was not for any safety. It's actually mandatory by story to do that. The game will not let you go. Ooh, what did Tina get there? I'm sorry.
That was a super pike ball for Tina.
All right, that's one of the 2 best drops that you could potentially get from these scarecrows. So Tina's going to be very happy to see that. Mijati, I see only getting a couple of bento boxes, which is rare to get like 2 back to back from the orcs. So even though those aren't the best items that you can get, he's going to put those to some good work. Most likely doing some animation skips, which we overwrite the collection animation by using a consumable. Both waiting out this first snake. Tina getting a little more trolled than Mijati was. Mijati, I think, just barely makes the 3 quota. Tina gets what I think to be upwards of 4. There.
I think both got 3, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it's a little easier to tell when you're running it if you can hear it physically than actually watching it.
Yeah, indeed.
But what they were doing there was... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trent.
Yeah, Tina actually opted in the forest and do some gem grinding. So I'm interested in what she will shop, actually.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm not 100% sure she's adopted the 2-shop route, but I've known her to go for those gems quite a bit. Just a little secret alcove hiding some extra money there. And she's probably definitely just looking to be at the 150 by the return to town, just like Mijati is, but he goes about it a slightly different method. Unless he's in dire straits and absolutely needs to use that secret stash there. Really quick to explain what they were doing with those snakes, by the way. It was a really tight area, and using the scimitar there allows us to exploit a lingering hitbox from the snakes. When you kill them, a hitbox remains around for a few frames, and in that tight space, that scimitar has no cooldown, and will hit that lingering hitbox up to 3 times in that small amount of period. And each time you hit it, it rolls the RNG on whether you get the 50% drop rate on the flush pop. So they were basically duplicating drops from an enemy in that regard. It's the only place that we're able to really leverage it, at least in the current route of the run. I know we've toyed around with some other ones. As you see, Mijati also kind of dipping down there for some extra gems. He didn't get as much as he was hoping for, and sticking true to his 2-shop route, he definitely wanted to make sure he had at least 50 gems before returning to town as they go back through Scarecrow Fields. And neither runner getting anything on the way back, which, again, it's not uncommon. It's not what you'd like to see. Those scarecrows can drop also a monster milk within their drop table, and really both runners were ideally looking for at least a monster milk and a super pike ball, if not more. It doesn't always work out. But again, we have some gems routed in this and know good places to grab money whenever the extra parts. Oh, I see a silky cream on Tina's side. That's interesting.
3 flares and a silky cream. That's interesting.
Did she also buy a 3-pack of potions? I think she's been known to do that for her shop.
I couldn't quite catch that. I was at that moment Mijati cream with this 4 flares and a super pike ball.
Yeah, Mijati following his very standard route. That's the route that I follow as well. So 4 flares, super pike ball, pretty common for that one. But I believe Tina has purchased probably a 3-pack of potions. He has the silky cream, which is a hair upgrade item that increases the whip speed of Shantae. It doesn't increase her damage, but it does increase her damage output because she is definitely putting more whip strikes in as she gets a bubble shield climbing up there. So that's one moment or one thing that she's going to be glad to see. It's one less worry part to have at the end of the run. You definitely need to have at least 1 bubble shield to really finish this without too much hassle, even though fighting the final boss can be done without it. It's an extremely scary proposition.
Mijati didn't got the full skip. Only
You only miss it by a couple of frames there. So what they're trying to do here is they do this bit of fetch questing on this island. We're basically tasked with kind of helping an old man, but we didn't go talk to him first. We are able to just kind of go ahead and do some of the events that lead to opening our first dungeon. So that involves meeting Twitch and Vinegar, who were here to go swimming, but the well had run dry. We take some of that ham stink up to that beautiful Gigalumix up there, and then once he smells that ham, the floodgates open, as it were, filling the pools below with that nice, warm, viscous, quote-unquote, water that Twitch and Vinegar looks so happy to be splashing in. They were trying to do a little bit of extra time save there, both of them using the save, the pausing strats, which when you do 3 at the right kind of interval and at the right time, will skip at least the Gigalumix, opening his eyes first before opening those said floodgates. Other thing you can do is drop off the ledge as you engage the text box there, and that actually cuts out the smell moving to his nostrils and saving just a little bit more time.
Just witnessed murder.
Yeah, armed with that Petrify spell, this is what that guy was looking for. And I'm afraid that casting Petrify on your petrified fiance doesn't actually unpetrify. It petrifies the user. So, sad days for that gentleman, but at least I'd say that they are together.
Yeah, kinda. In the end, he should do math correctly. Negative and negative is positive, not positive. Positive is negative.
Yeah, yes, that would be very, very correct. Alright, so both of these runners are now currently in a little bonus dungeon that WayForward added to this game, and what they're going through is an homage to the first dungeon. This is the exact same layout. The only updates, obviously, are some of the actual sprites within here because, obviously, programming limitations, but this is to celebrate their original first game and the first dungeon in here, so they added this. And the reason that they're in here is to grab a couple of extra keys, because this game has a nifty little feature in the fact that the keys are not locked to the dungeon you pick them up in. So they're grabbing a couple of extra to give themselves a significant time save later in the run, where they won't have to go through what the game intends them to do and go through this really winding and annoying section to be able to get the additional keys they need. So alright, and this will be where you see the first most likely route divergence. You're going to see Tina opting after the save guide to go down, where Mijati went ahead and went across and up. And Tina is over here grabbing yet another key. This is her kind of preferred one to grab. As Mijati goes into our first gauntlet room with the Wetman, you're probably wondering, because the cannon does more damage, why is he not cannoning them while Tina did on that one? Well, it's a matter of numbers. Cannon will only hit one actual monster, where the scimitar actually hits both. So it's just a little quicker when dealing with the two to use the scimitar as well. I'm sure you'll see Tina employ it. I think she got an item from there. Was that just a food item?
I think it was the lobster there when I saw that correctly.
Yeah, I saw her go for an animation skip there. Unfortunately, didn't quite get it, so ended up still getting the normal collection animation. As Mijati quickly making quick work of that boss. Goodbye. Just kidding. That was his first phase, but still extremely good work. And what they're doing is very similar to what we did with the snakes in that little sewer section. Getting trapped between the ceiling and that boss with the scimitar allows you to just destroy it and melt down its HP because of that. In fact, again, there's no cooldown on dealing damage, much less the scimitar, and doing an excellent job of getting the quick kill on our first actual real boss of the game.
Yeah, sometimes scimitar is actually very helpful in tight spaces.
Yeah, it's one of the more preferred methods. Unfortunately, this is one of the only bosses where it really comes into play. There are some other ones you can a little bit later, but not quite to that impact of effect that you see with the Cyclops plant. Indeed. Tina's now doing her fight as Mijati is leaving and heading to our next destination after receiving his first map. See how Tina's fight goes here while he's traversing. It's really solid.
Yeah, very, very good fight.
Yep, very, very good fight from her as well. So both runners having no problems with with the Cyclops plant. Mijati now entering our next island, Spiderweb Island. I hear that this place has some monster web coverage, by the way, Trent.
You sure about that?
Well, Roddy said so I don't know. I have to take her word for it. At any rate, so as he's navigating through here, I mean, you see obviously ghosts, zombies. This place is pretty spooky in the overall scheme and scope of things. And one rooms that you have to be very careful is he's picking up this fossil. Again, it's a little bit of a sequence break. You would normally come back here after you get the scimitar to get that. So he's just saving a lot of time there. So at any rate, going through these vertical rooms is really the only point that's a little spooky, and I don't mean that because there's ghosts there, but those ghosts can be real trolls. As you're trying to go up there quickly, they will appear generally right in your path, And not only do they do 2 points of damage, they will probably knock you all the way back down to the bottom. So it's also a time loss. But Trent, we're going into our favorite section. Run.
Yeah, by far our favorite section. Like every speedrunner knows this. It's basically the auto scroller, but on your own pace. So we all don't like it. Some of us do, like Turkey or other people. Some like the tongues. Some like other rooms, like Stevens. The thing basically is we try to get there without hitting by anything, because every time you get hit, you get set back to the beginning of the screen. Basically putting you back, depending on the room, 10 to 30 seconds. And that's the reason why we try to avoid everything and go sometimes a bit slower and sometimes as fast as we can, but yeah, some rooms don't let us.
Yeah, it's as Trent said. I mean, this is one of those points, and it's about 4.5 minutes optimally, upwards of 5 minutes. Tina also throwing a little bit of swag there with that stake jump at the beginning end. So she's fully aware of kind of the developments on that front. I'm not sure it's a little spooky to do. It doesn't save any time, but you'll notice again, neither runner having a health bar at this particular point. There's no indication of their health. So this section is literally a one-shot kill. You touch anything and you are set back to the beginning of the room that you took the hit in. You cannot die or game over in this part, fortunately, but you can lose a significant amount of time. And with some of these things, there's not a lot you can do. There's other things you can do. Ooh, Tina taking a tongue death there. Fortunately, that's not a very costly one because it's a very small room. But you definitely don't want to see that. I mean, each one of those obviously will start to add up. And
Yeah.
there's minimal things you can do to save a little bit of extra time here.
Yeah, Mijati is right now on the gravestone screens. Basically, we know which can move, but we don't know when they move. So we try to avoid that by jumping over them, just hoping they don't move in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's scary. There's a spot later that they can be absolutely monstrous on you, so you want to be very cognizant of what they can do and be ready for it, because you only get a couple of frames to dodge it if they really give you the worst pattern possible. But yes, I'm going to point out, by the way, yes, Way Forward is highly influenced by a lot of iconic video game genres and whatnot, SMW being one of them. So these fights definitely look a little familiar. The Metroidvania style of this particular game obviously is probably just a testament to how much they love Castlevanias and Metroids as well. There's a lot of pop culture references that occur throughout the game and the story too. So, normally if you're looking for a good experience, I would definitely recommend playing this casually, reading the dialogue, and just seeing what you can spot yourself, just from all of these different creatures and the designs and what Way Forward puts to the table.
The dust we went. Now we're going to the gates of hell, and they are closed.
Closed more often than not, I'm afraid.
Yeah, like we say, this part has some RNG in it. Like the pillars itself, they run sometimes in a global cycle. Sometimes they just pretend they don't do. It's sometimes weird, sometimes not. Basically, we try to do it as optimally as we can, and therefore get roughly always the same pattern. But if we sometimes lose minor seconds or somewhere on the screen, this whole cycle can be thrown off and gates of hell are closed or open, depending on how well you actually go through the whole thing.
Yeah, Mijati just going through the final room there. That's the most brutal one, as the game throws everything that you've seen up to that point at you all at the same time. And even though the gravestones did try to pull a pincer, they did it a little slow. So no problems for Mijati. He gets through there very, very well overall. I thought I didn't see any hiccups. He's actually at a really good pace with a low 19. So that's probably exactly where he wants to be right now, as Tina now is currently entering that particular room. And we'll see how she fares while Mijati gets that wagon repaired with Poe.
Who knew squid oil has so many repair things in it?
if you need something to turn, I guess I hear squid oil is indeed the way to go. It wasn't the wheels being broken that the squid oil repaired. He knew that the wheels just wouldn't turn without a little lubrication. So squid oil apparently is much better than any other option out there. So maybe you look for that moving forward if you're doing any repair work.
Yeah, Tina just got through the whole room without
Yeah.
many problems.
Yeah, little above 20 minutes here, but that's still not a bad pace. So I would still be happy with that. I know she did have a couple of minor struggles going through there, but nothing too detrimental. So she as well is on a good pace as Mijati now is entering our next Den of Evil, Cackle Tower. And again, this is where you'll see a little bit of a route divergence. Because Tina already has her extra key, she will not be going down after this safe guy. She'll be going directly up the tower, where Mijati will be headed down. And what he's doing right now is hoping for some super pike ball drops to these skeletons. They have an okay-ish chance to drop them. But he did get a couple of regulars, so that'll at least make this fight against this Batgirl a little bit easier. And he's really hoping to see some good drops from her, as she's got 3 things that she's mainly known to give us: Super Pike Ball, Super Monster Milk, or a Pirate Flare if you're me. He gets the optimal. He gets the optimal. That Super Monster Milk's exactly what he was looking for. All right, Tina now opening the door, waiting for the little entry fanfare to complete. And should be just a little behind Mijati then. I mean, the difference in Run Roddy Tops, I think, obviously kind of helped on that front a little bit. Tina will get a couple of these skeletons, but we'll miss out on some of the opportunities that Mijati had to get some of those better drops. So she'll be making that up in other ways throughout her particular route, as she's now navigating up to where Mijati is just grabbing that 1 extra key on the way through. So we've only got a few seconds between these runners when they finally converge back on path. Oh yes, taking the damage from the tongue there to set up that animation skip, really well executed. The whip right before you take damage in air, it actually will just stun lock Shantae in place. That mechanic we'll probably be seeing here very shortly on Mijati's side as he goes into our next boss, the Emperor Spider. And the way that works is he wants to stay up in the air as much as possible, so he'll be leveraging that stun lock where it resets Shantae's jump and cannon ability, and he can then let that Super Pike Ball really do some damage as he's giving it a go. Had a little bit of a fallout there, but not too bad execution-wise. Another fallout. That's a little better.
And Tina just entering the boss fight, so we are actually very close to each other.
Yeah, really solid kill by Mijati. I mean, that's a very risky strat to do because, you know, you want to come into this fight full health. Really, the strat only works if you are full health, because as that ticks down, you start to worry about losing that auto potion that was giving you at the beginning of the game, that safety net. For some of the later bosses, which do significant more amounts of damage there. But Mijati having absolutely no trouble with that. I thought a couple of times it probably wasn't the most optimal fight, but he can't be disappointed by that. Tina's taking a little bit safer. I did see her take a couple of knockbacks, but also getting that spider down relatively quick. I mean, we're only still less than 30 seconds between these 2 runners. So we've got a really tight race, like we predicted here at the beginning.
10-line island. I read something about something in a brochure someday. Should be a very good holiday spot, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe at the beginning of the game we sent our good friend Squid Baron here, and he's looking forward to seeing frisky young co-eds splashing in the water and other old people doing other various vacation-y things. Mijati wanted to go through those cactuses. I didn't happen to catch. It looks like I saw a bubble shield come out of his end, which is good for him. That's the one thing he still needed, and he has gotten. Oh, speaking of Squid Baron, look who's here. He doesn't look happy though.
Aww, he's in the off season.
Yeah, we didn't know that it was the off season when we sent him here. Tinahacks also getting both a bubble shield and a monster milk. That's actually really favorable. So Tina definitely is going to be very happy about that, but still going to opt to take on this Scorpio. Didn't get anything but the 5 gem drop, the most common one from there, so she's probably a little jilted, but nothing too bad. She's she's got what she wants out of that. But at any rate, yeah, Squid Baron wasn't very happy. He gives us his X-ray specs he brought for the vacation. We just run right out of there really quick using the flare and go visit our good pal Sky, who had a boyfriend. Her dad says otherwise. As he has Joe read that sarcophagi, and well, now Joe is also turned to stone. So I think we're starting to see a theme going on in this game. I mean, we had that old guy at the beginning of Saliva Island. Now Joe has been petrified. There's some shenanigans happening in Sequin Land.
Where could Sky Dad actually get the recipe for that, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a bit there. You probably didn't see it on Mijati's side, nor Tina's, when they both zipped right by it. But he did find that sarcophagi on Tanline Island and brought it home to his daughter post haste. The reasons for him bringing it there are questionable at best. It is alluded to that this is not the first boyfriend that she has lost at the hands of her father. Not sure what all that means, as both runners now right on top of each other collecting the mummy sketch, though I believe Tina still has to return to Scuttletown. So a little bit of a high five from our runners.
Hi. Oh yeah. And now back to Tanline Island for Mijati. As
We'll see how his second charge goes here.
Yeah. Ooh.
Milk, good. Okay, so that's okay. Yeah, he's not 100% set for the run. He's still collecting some gems here, so he's not 100% happy based on that. We'll see if he gets how many super pike balls, if any, he gets these skeletons.
None so far.
None. Yeah, he got 3 regular pike balls, although functional, are not the ideal, so he's not going to be happy for that. He'll still be looking for more. He is going to have his charge on the way back out, so we'll see what he gets here. 4 more regulars. And the super pike ball at the end. Lucky. Again, he's probably not too happy, but all the gems he's buying right now is in preparation for anything that RNG slides him on. So he's not in a bad spot. I mean, he's got a couple of monster milks, I believe, at this point. It's super from the back row, 1 from the cactuses as well. Another bubble shield for Tina. So that helps for another boss that she'll probably more than likely leverage. Which can be a benefit. We'll see how that goes, as Mijati is currently trying to crack the code to enter our next actual, I won't call it a dungeon, this is just our next little sidetrack in the adventure.
Do we actually have a triple fish?
We have a triple fish.
And Shantae got captured.
Yeah, going in here, we have to go through here because, again, no out-of-bounds category. Normally, we would skip this in sort of out-of-bounds trickery as Tina's getting her code over there. Sadly, when we walk in the door, we're immediately mistaken for this temple's and these people's princess, and not only are having our clothes changed to ceremonial garb to celebrate our coronation, we're also thrown in prison so we can't run away again, apparently. So not really sure what this is going on, but they apparently do like the movie Star Wars, as they dress up Shantae in some space princess garb, as she calls it. Mijati smartly backing off of that quick cycle there. He would have been caught if he'd have followed through on it.
Ooh, he's low and he has not good luck when he goes up there.
No, I'm not sure what happened there. Sometimes Shantae doesn't like to let go of chains, and fortunate enough to catch himself before getting caught, which would have cost him probably about 30 to 40 seconds there. As he goes into the last room, he is setting up for the 1 cycle. We'll see here, this is the most punishing one, getting caught, so any misstep here will cost you more, upwards of a minute.
Oh,
not risking the last. Yeah, I don't blame him. Maybe that last jump is super scary, and again, costs you upwards of a minute to get captured there. So no problems for Mijati getting through. I did take note that he grabbed those 60 gems above the key, so he's obviously not very happy with his inventory at this particular point. I think he is looking to purchase some really good items towards the end there. He's probably looking for a full super monster milk and super pike ball regimen for the final bosses of the game, for at least the last 3. And that's going to be pricey. So grabbing those gems, great way to alleviate the RNG that he's gotten. But I don't think he's too happy with just the regular monster milk as an option for him there.
Yeah, Tina opted to get the 60 gems as well.
And Tina's making a point to do 1 cycle guard room as well. Hopefully she succeeds. Also taking it very safe on the last one. Don't blame her. In a race setting, again, it can be very costly taking that. So both runners having no problems with that. I'll just quickly touch base on the fact that all of our friends are here. We have Risky, which makes sense. She was at the docks and was kidnapped. But Roddy Tops, why is she here? Well, she wanted to be with Shantae, hang out with her, sharing the adventure, and happened to get captured. And then Sky came here looking for a cure for Joe and also got captured. Now, that's the real princess, and she was only gone for 30 minutes while the real princess went to the store. These guys are real good to coordinate that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not sure about their eyesight, but they definitely do work fast in regards to capturing princesses. All right, so after handing over the golden pickaxe, our reward for kind of setting things right in Tan Line Temple, it allows these workers to quickly remove those ruins that were in the way, and we're now able to move to our actual next dungeon, our next den of evil, the Lost Catacombs here. As anticipated, Mijati is opting to not farm on any of these Scorp Gals, and the drop rate is questionable. He's not hurting for items, plus he's got some good opportunity in here to grab a few things, so we'll see how he does. Oh, okay.
How?
Having a little trouble with that one lone cacti, and then again, things can get out of control here really quick. He's not going for the key off to the right here, which it's not unexpected. Not many people have necessarily adopted as the route. Another bubble shield, that's really unnecessary, so he wanted to see a monster milk there, unfortunately didn't get it. We'll see what this room will give him.
Tina farms more milk.
Yeah, super monster milk. She is taking advantage of the chances of what you can get from the Scorp Gals, and they're giving her some good RNG here. Super Pike Ball as well. That's really favorable drops for her. Both of those in the 20 to 25% range in regards to the frequency of dropping. So she's got to be a little bit happy about that, and this will also be taking this third one on. Only getting a gem, unfortunately.
Yeah, indeed. But she actually bought 1 Super Monster Milk when she was in Skeleton back, so she's actually pretty good set with milks.
Yeah, she's got to be happy with that, but still opting to grab some extra money, so I think she wanted to supplement a bit more. Mijati not getting the 1 cycle crusher room and quickly realizing that, unfortunately saving himself just losing time by taking a squish in that particular part. Had no problems getting through this purple block room that Tina is currently working on. This block room's a little tricky to do at a quick pace and can get really dangerous really fast. Some runners have actually lost runs in here as well, just because they take more damage from the cactuses than they really want to. As Mijati is taking on our Squid Baron, our next boss, and it looked like he was going, I think it was just a normal cycle. I'm pretty sure I heard jumping as I was watching Tina navigate that. So he should be on script here. Squid Baron
should be on script, yeah.
Yeah, he's on script. So Squid Baron works on a script. He does a charge. He does a series of jump attacks. He does another charge, and then after that, he goes into an eating phase. And you want to take him out of phase 1 right before he does that eating thing, because then you can just sit there and wail on him. And with the buffs in play, you're able to easily out DPS his healing. Tina's struggling with the Crusher room. That was really close.
She's not getting the risky boost out.
Yeah, I think she's a little off on her timing for the risky shuffle, and the Gauntlet room, from what I can tell, didn't treat her too well either. But fortunately, she's had enough drops up to this point, is opting for Super Monster Milk and a regular Pike Ball. Should still have no problem keeping Squid Baron on script as long as there's no mistakes made. So, as Mijati is currently setting up for Mudbog Island, we'll keep a close eye on Tina's fight here with the Squid Baron. Okay, getting a knock down there. Oh, and another one. This is getting precarious. So she's not likely to stop him from eating, which is going to put her off script a little bit here. Basically, at this point, what she'll anticipate is she'll be going to knock him out of his charge. So hopefully she'll hover over his head before breaking that shell. She did not. She went right for him. So she's going to. Oh, ouch! This might be Rip Auto Potion.
Maybe. We hope not.
Well, yeah, we hope not.
As Mijati actually bought a potion, 3 Super Monster Modes, and 4 flares in the shop.
Yeah, that was the need for all the money. He wanted to buy a full 3-pack of super monster milks to supplement along with the 4 actual flares that he would need, especially. So that was going to be very pricey. Yep, there goes Tina's auto potion as her buffs have run out in this fight. So now it's just, can she kind of solidify things now? The auto potion gone. It's not ripped by any means, and she doesn't get touched at the end there. So I'm happy to see that auto potion lost, but we'll see how she decides to go. We might see a little bit more safety strats from her moving forward with that particular piece missing. As Mijati, after getting his death mask from Bolo, which X-ray specs apparently make him super smart, he's now navigating the Casual's Nightmare Mudbug Island, but looks like having no trouble with proper cannoning and jumping to avoid bonking on the ceiling and stopping your momentum. You can get through that simple. If you make any mistakes, though, it can be very costly as the monsters in here tend to swarm you. Plus, the damage output is increased a lot from what you're used to, especially with the frequency of getting hit. So, no problems on Mijati's side. Tina is going to be going back to do her next thing. I think she meant to go in the shop there rather than the Squidsmith.
Love for the Squidsmith.
Yeah, she just wanted to show off one of the rare waifus of the game that you don't get to see in the speedrun. As anyone who's played this game before has probably noticed by now, 2-heart run. She's replacing her auto potion that she lost. Or at least I think she was trying.
Didn't have enough room. I think she didn't have enough money for that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think she tried, but then realized that the $50 price tag on that was more than she could afford based on what she'd already purchased prior. So she definitely was looking to replace it, but she's now going to move forward without it. Again, I think it'll be interesting to see what safeties, if any, she opts for.
Indeed. On the other side, we do see Mijati actually collecting in the Village of Lost Souls some coins, because we found some gamblers and they were like, hey, we want to play a game, but we need coins.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had enough RNG in this game to this point, right?
Right.
Yeah, so basically these coins are necessary to do. It's a little bit of a fetch quest. We go around here grabbing these to play a little game of heads and tails with these gamers, which are throwback from, again, the Game Boy Color Shantae. That's where they made their first appearance. But this place being the Village of Lost Souls kind of indicates that this is not the place for the living. So I wonder exactly what happened to the gamers to bring them here.
Well, credit sharks, maybe?
Possibly. Looks like he got blocked by the blue gamer pretty hard. I mean, as RNG goes, I'd be happy with that, to be honest. So again, this game is literal RNG. You pick heads or you pick tails, and you're either right or wrong. You have to get 3 consecutive in a row, and we don't like menuing too much, so we usually just opt to just go heads for that and hope that we're right. And the blue gamer just gave 3 consecutive tails out of the gate and before that. And then Way Forward, thank you Way Forward for at least being kind, added a fail safe that when you fail that game 3 times, they'll give you the win no matter what you pick on your 4th attempt. So that's probably the 4th best RNG, and you have to just kind of move forward with whatever you get. As Tina's going to start collecting her coins, and Mijati getting that Old Spice, aka Manly Musk, required to enter this dungeon. No one is allowed within the oubliette. If they smell really nice and pretty, they only want the stinkiest of the stinky in there. So that Old Spice there, apparently they consider that stinky and will let you in once you stink things up.
Yeah, that ghost room where Tina was in is actually one of the most difficult screens in that whole Village of Lost Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you don't know where they spawn, and if they once have you, they really quickly reduce your health by a lot. Yeah,
it's another instance of being mobbed by a swarm of enemies really quick. Is Mijati showing the true gift that Risky Boots brings to the speedrun. Doing that elevator puzzle would be very lengthy, especially when it takes going around quite a bit of that dungeon to get things to line up. But the Risky Shuffle just negates it completely, and we just skip right to the final boss of that area. So you see where the time saves really come into play when utilizing that particular little exploit. As he's now going against Dagron, our massively misspelled monstrosity and killer of runs. Opting for a Super Monster Milk and a regular Pike Ball. It's not a bad setup. He can probably still get a 3-cycle out of this if he does well. And Dagron's movement's very easy. He comes in from one side, he comes in from the other after every cycle. Mijati getting lucky with the long drifts instead of having him stop, except for the beginning and the middle. Having no trouble adjusting to him, though, taking him down very quickly. That was an outstanding fight from Mijati.
Yeah, the main problem with Dagron is the longer the fight goes and the more damage he took, the faster he will be. So if you are like 2 or 3 hits away, he's going very, very fast, and that fight can quickly go out of control. So that's what we try to prevent as much as we can.
Yep. Yeah, it spirals out of control very quickly if you let him get away, and 2 to 3 points of damage depending on which part you make contact with him. It adds up, especially in a 2-heart run. Mijati getting caught with that invisible wall inside this little area here. There's just something there that stops your charge when you charge in from that side. So I think he started his charge just a little too early. He was trying to buffer it through the loading zone, and unfortunately had it triggered just a little too soon. Just a little bit of a time loss. He has to reestablish his charge to get out. And the reason that we had to run out is the Village of Lost Souls counts as an indoor area. You're not allowed the Pirate Flare at that particular point. So have to do a little backtracking just to get out and be able to return to Risky Ship. As Tina is now currently dealing with the Oubliette at this point. We'll see her employ the same strats and see exactly how well she's doing.
Some problems with the elevators. In that tight space, it's actually pretty problematic sometimes to get this risky shuffle off.
It feels like there's a pixel there that kind of messes with your charge too. So it definitely happens. I know I sometimes have a couple of issues with getting the risky charge off there, but you can circumvent it. You just have to kind of try again. So Mijati currently goes from an extremely hot place to an extremely cold place in Frostbite Island. And unsurprisingly here, he's dodging the wolves, which have a very low chance to drop some good items, but because of his shopping route and the RNG he's been given thus far, doesn't really need to spend a lot of time killing these, so he's going to do his best to avoid just causing the pause that it takes to deal with the charge. As Tina's now with Dagron, having her date Dagron.
Version, right?
Mijati does, yes.
And he's not opting for it, apparently.
Oh, Tina. Okay, gosh, she has some healing items, and that was fortunate. Next shot was about to kill her. Okay, phew. I don't know that she saved, but yeah, she was in line to take a death there. If she had not dropped that flesh pop, she would have been 3 points of damage and would have died. That was clench from Tina getting through that fight, but she survives the day. And we'll be moving on also on Mijati's heels into Frostbite Island soon. Phew. All right, we'll see what Mijati does here. He's not set up to try APJ, the Auto Potion jump. He's taken no damage to this point, so I'm not sure that he's going to go for it. Again, he kind of mentioned he wasn't practiced on it. So it looks like he'll be opting to skip it there. It's not a big deal. It just circumvents the kind of the roundabout route to get to our final destination here, which he's navigating no problem. And this is actually one of the fun parts to do in pirate mode because the game doesn't really expect you to have the cannon, but I feel it's designed with that in mind as well. So you can have a lot of fun navigating those super long horizontal stretches, with just the right cannon and holding that hat out the whole time and just gliding over long horizontal parts and over the robots there with no problem. As we run into Bolo, again, that guy is everywhere, and I guess those glasses got him a job, too. He's working for the Techno Baron, whom we ran into early on. Tina will be bumping into him very shortly here. Building targeting modules for the Ammo Baron, so apparently Bolo has now become one of the bad guys? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not expecting something else from him, honestly.
No, we were well versed on Bolo's kind of reputation and abilities. So I want to have faith that everything will be good with his work, but well, we saw the opening of the game with the key and the door to Sequinland Palace, where it was installed inside out, upside down, and backwards. It's probably going to be the same thing here, but we'll see. As Mijati's just finishing up the last bit of fetch questing here, well, one part of it. A quick revisit to this area with that lost soul that we got at the end of Oubliette. Obviously, zombies seem to know things about dead people, so let's go talk to them. We find out that our good pal Sky's boyfriend's ghost actually ended up down there, and we now got his spirit in our inventory. So, guess we'll have to see exactly how that plays out. But maybe we can do our best friend Sky a little bit of a favor here.
Yeah, indeed. I hope this time the boyfriend does not end up killed by her dad. So.
Yeah, it's
maybe
gotta
happy
be
ending.
Yeah, it's gotta mean a happy ending. I mean, we're going way out of our way here just to make sure that we bring this guy to life. I mean, it is for our best friend. As Mijati comes to this gentleman here who's hanging out, he's also lined up for everyone's favorite little trick. But we give that sword that we got earlier to this guy, whom we've kind of labeled not He-Man or Discount He-Man or any other variation. But unfortunately, he's going to eat a nutbuster as Mijati shoots off that pirate flare. Ooh, sorry, big guy. It's just not your day.
We're gonna revive Joe now.
And he just broke up with our best friend because he had time to think. I guess you can still think while you're turned to stone. So much for that happy ending. Legally distinct He-Man. Yeah, there's that one as well, Rogue, yes. As Mijati, that shot, by the way, was aimed at Sequinland Palace. I'd say it missed. And, well, Techno Baron, we'll see you in Half Genie Hero. He gets shipped off to the next game with one explosive shot. So our good friend Bolo, just like the lock on the Palace, that targeting module is upside down, inside out, and backwards. And apparently that causes shots to go pretty much around the world before they land, which, to our benefit, opens up our last Den of Evil, which Mijati will be entering now, the Abandoned Factory. And again, it's one of these areas that we can trivialize a bit with the ability of the Risky Shuffle. Also, extra key grabs. I don't even know if he's carrying an extra one here, to be honest.
No, he's not. He didn't got the 1 out of 10 line.
Yeah, there's some divergence in routing amongst the runners right now in regards to some of the key routing that's going on here. Mijati did not grab any extra keys on the way here, so we're going to see him get all 3. It's not that big a deal, especially since he's got a pack of potions. He's going to be skipping those animations every time he grabs one there, so it's not huge in regards to time loss. I think he feels that this traditional route that he's following probably isn't any better or worse than current ones that a lot of people are looking at. As Tina is finishing up her kind of fetch quest to get the Den of Evil open as well, making her way through Scarecrow Fields. Just like Mijati, really trying to avoid contacting anyone, barely dodging a Heart Squid of Shame right there.
We don't want hot squids.
Oh, and again, she's just teasing us with that. I feel like she's teasing us with that.
Could be.
Because I've never seen anyone actively going to shoot for that. As Mijati is now on our next boss, the I forget his name, Steel Maggot. That's it. Yeah, and the mechanic here is these random buttons on his back. Those buttons are RNG in regards to what order they need to be pressed to expose his weak point. We don't have any indication or clue. This bubble shield at least is a big help. So that extra bubble shield drop is big for this particular fight, because those spread shots that he does when you get the code wrong do deal 1 full heart, 4 points of damage. So 2 shots of that and you'd be dead. Mijati having not too bad a time with it. He's a little off PV pace at this point. I don't think RNG was all that favorable. But it still was a really good fight overall, considering he was using just a regular pipe ball. Alright, so grabbing that last map there, the Lonely Grave map, we'll be on our way to our final destination, as Tina is just now doing her final shot. She's still eyeballing that auto potion, but I think the other needs of what she needs at this point, she was not able to replace it. as she'll be getting ready to go take on Mr. Steel Maggot herself.
Yeah, and Mijati is going to the lonely grave now. Finally.
Yep, we're ready to go take on our final one. This is exactly what Risky wanted. Normally we'd be coming here with the pirate gear. She'd be ready to go for a fight. There's not really a lot of activity there, though. It seems a little quiet. Or is it? Nope. Our man has resurrected. His astral form appears, and he's less than happy with Risky, as you can see there. She used to work for him, and when there was a great genie war and the genies took him down, it was Risky that kind of helped in regards to throwing a mutiny on that. Oh, did she forget to fire off the cannon before leaving?
Yeah, she did forget to give away the module and fire off the cannon.
Wow. When you're thinking about your inventory, that could certainly be a thing. I didn't notice if she actually went all the way there to find it was closed. It may have been
I think, yeah.
Oh, that's disheartening when you make that error, because you're like, there's worse ones you could do in this run, but you just don't like to see that when it happens. So she'll take this opportunity now just to maybe buy something else.
Another pirate flare, because she
because she used it to get back. Yeah, well, at least she fortunately had the jump for that. So that's unfortunate for Tina. That'll be some time lost that won't be. You can't really recover that, unfortunately. It is what it is. Mijati quickly getting to our final actual location, the Pirate Master's Palace, which is Sequin's Palace, remodeled by the Pirate Master. And you'll notice that he's cannoning up this. This is not the intended method to getting through here. Those doors lead to some very tricky and difficult platforming segments that you would normally navigate to be able to do this. But because the hat lifts you up about 1 or 2 pixels, and if you time your cannon strikes at their apex and then use the hat one more time, it's just enough height to get Shantae up on those platforms for each level, and you're able to skip all of the difficult platforming that would be normally required to get through here. So Mijati having minimal trouble getting up there, a couple of hiccups, but nothing too detrimental, is now taking on our final boss, the Pirate Master. And this is where the bubble is most important, because after about 3 or 4 teleports, the Pirate Master starts shooting out these purple orbs, which do 8 points of damage, one-shotting our 2-hearted hero, or heroine in this case. But that bubble shield just completely negates it, and it's no longer a threat. And the only thing you have to worry about is taking physical damage from the Pirate Master, which, hugging the Pirate Master is 4 hearts of health, as you demonstrated just there. I believe he still has his auto potions, so he doesn't have to feel super cautious, but he is taking it a bit easy. No problem. Pirate Master down, and that's Mijati finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 52 minutes and 12 seconds.
Indeed, a very good run from him.
And we got Tina currently working on the Steel Maggot, so we're just gonna let. She's also opting to use her bubble shield as well. Not a surprise. I mean, again, if you've got the extra, why not? It just makes you have the ability to hover over them, try to guess that code with an extra shot that you normally wouldn't get. But she's struggling a little bit. The code's not being favorable with a 3-1-2. It's probably not the funnest one to do. But yeah, here we go. She should be finishing it off. And
Nice.
Looks like Mijati's hanging around for an interview, Trent. So if you're down, we can bring him in.
Oh, I'm totally down to hear his thoughts.
All right, chat. We'll bring in Mijati here really quick, and we'll have a little chat with him. Hello, Mijati. GG on your win.
GG, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I'd see your displeasure voiced in chat that you weren't exactly happy with the run, but it was still very solid from our perspective. So what are your thoughts, sir?
Time's okay, I guess. I had a really bad insert boss name here. All of them were bad except Cyclops Plant, really. Had really bad RNG, only getting one super monster milk, one super python, but thankfully got gems to make up for that and had bubble shields, so I didn't have to waste money on those. But it's an okay time. I should have been lower. The low 52 is okay, I guess, but it's been roughly where I've been averaging, and it's not a bad time with this luck, but I should be averaging lower than that.
Yeah, that's from my perspective, it's an extremely solid run. I mean, that's 2 minutes faster than the average times I've put up in this tournament. So, as I kind of mentioned at the beginning of this, you've not necessarily been at this game as long as some other people, but your growth and development and how fast you've improved has just been phenomenal to watch. And again, dropping a 52 and not being happy with it, I think, is a testament to how much work you really put into this game and know what your capabilities are.
Yeah, I think I'm up to 100 hours now, and the first 5 or 6 of that was just playing the game casually. So about 95 hours I've put in since the start of February, which is quite a lot of time. But when every run takes about an hour, it's not that much, really.
Yeah. Right. Just keeping an eye on Tina here. She's doing her final charge to the Pirate Minister's Palace. Will be starting her ascent shortly.
Indeed.
Trent, do you have any current questions for Mijati while we keep an eye on Tina there?
Yeah, I saw that you actually went for the 60 extra gems. You really had pretty bad luck from the looks of it. So basically, what else would have you wanted from the drops in general, so that you could actually do not go for that?
So those gems, 60 gems, that's enough for 6 potions. So if I end up getting the drops I need, then that's 6 potions. Those 6 potions save more than the 7 seconds I take getting the gems. Also looking for 310 gems to the threshold for 2 to 3 super monster milks that I bought there. 300's 2 super monster milks and the super pipe balls. That depends what the last 2 scorp girls drop. In this case, nothing. So I had to do 3 regular pipe ball bosses, where 2 would be ideal, 2 super pipe, 2 regular, but that's not too bad. I like getting for those 60 gems unless I've gotten extremely lucky with like about 3 super pikes and super monster or something like that. But without that, I would just go for the 60 gems almost every time.
The other thing we were wondering, because we thought you had your other potion left, so why didn't we saw something there?
I was tempted to, but the game sort of all throughout kept dropping frames, which is why I didn't go for stake jumps or anything during that. I sort of, there's had just random frame drops all through random naughty tops and throughout, so no point going for a frame perfect trick when my frame rate's all over the place.
Yeah, that's fair. Tina's currently on the final fight with the Pirate Master here. She just lost her auto potion. I don't think this will be too much of a challenge, though. The lasers were no threat. She finishes as well, in finishing with a second place time of 56 minutes and 55 seconds for SRL timing. So GG to Tina as well. Both runners running really well. We expected a close match. I think just routing and RNG maybe won the day a little bit more. Tina didn't have the most solid of RNG either. And a couple of little slip ups there cost her some time, but still a really, really good time from her. So drop your GGs in chat for Tina as well, everybody. And we'll see if she is up for an interview. Looks like she is, so I'll go ahead and bring her in if there's no objections. I'll take silence as a no. Hey, Tina, GG, congrats on finishing the run.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on that one.
Oh man, that was maybe not my finest run ever, but I think that Dagron fight was at least entertaining.
It was very entertaining. I have to admit that the clinch factor was indeed high on that fight. That one flesh pop you dropped there right in the nick of time before taking the untimely death there. That was ingenious. I have to go with that. So, again, really good show. I wouldn't complain about the run too much in a race setting. I think a 56 is still pretty solid. You just kind of got a little bested on a little RNG. I mean, Mijati had an okay-ish run, but was able to mitigate his, and I think you kind of got a little shorted on things if I caught things correctly.
Oh yeah, I got the super early super pipe ball, which I was really excited about. So I gambled on a silky cream, because I mean that's what you do. If you're going to go for a really good run, you go for a really good run. The problem there is that you do need to continue getting drops for that to be worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask about the Silky Cream purchase because I think you're the only one I've seen, at least in recent memory, grabbing that. That might be fault of me for not paying attention to shopping menus. But at first we're like, oh, this ought to be interesting. And I know Sound Defense, a longtime runner who was watching, he was excited to see, oh, DPS strats, let's go.
Yep, and that's exactly what it was. I was going for a DPS thing, but you need to be able to follow it up with anything at all.
And
unfortunately, I wasn't able to in this case.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, that's the ebb and flow of this run. The RNG giveth, the RNG taketh away. It's one of my.
I'm not sure about that first part.
Well, unfortunately, you're no longer considered new status by the game, apparently. So.
Yeah, no, I remember my first completed run. I got everything that I needed, and now that's not the case anymore, and that's a bummer. But yeah, I had wanted to give Mijati a better race, so that's a bummer on that side. Not a huge surprise that a runner of Mijati's caliber was able to take the win.
It was still a good race. I'm looking forward to going back and watching the VOD to see what happened.
Yeah, I definitely recommend rewatching it. It was still really good. I mean, right at the beginning, you guys were really close up through, I'd say all the way through about 10 line, and then things started to go. I think the RNG really started to shine at that point. You could start to see the difference in what was being gained and how it was being done at that point. But it was still
10 line,
very
10
entertaining.
line definitely is where I started feeling like I didn't have the video up, so I didn't know where anybody stood. But yeah, up until Run Roddy Tops, I felt like I was ahead. Then I took that one really unfortunate death, and then I no longer felt like I was ahead. And at no point did I feel like I was clawing it back.
Yeah, anything can happen in these runs, and yeah, I totally understand that feeling. Any point, any one little thing goes wrong, and you're instantly in that mindset of, uh-oh, I'm probably going to lose this one at this point. So, it with the hand you were dealt, I think you did very well. The bosses obviously didn't treat you too well, and your Steel Maggot fight, that didn't quite go as wanted either. He was giving you some really trolly codes. But again, you pushed through it, you made it. So again, congratulations.
Yeah, it was a fun run.
Completing. Trent, do you have any other questions for our runners?
No, I only want to hear the final words on the run. Like, what's the one thing that stick to out?
For me, I don't know. Nearly 2 cycling Dagron was probably the best thing that happened to me in that run. I was only a couple hits away, and that was unfortunate. At least 2 cycling with Super Pike and Super Monster regular Pike. But I think that's about it on the run. Also, while I'm here, shout outs to CCC crew, especially Gazelle Shaft. She's the reason I run this game or run any game. So yeah, huge shout outs to her.
Yeah, in my case, just a matter of one little thing setting me off balance and failing to pull that back, and that's a bummer. But overall, I'm not super unhappy with the run. I think that, like JT said, in a no reset setting, 5650 isn't so bad.
It's a solid start indeed.
All right. Well, all right. If everyone is good, then I'm just going to take a moment to plug our runners, both tinahacks and Mijati. If you definitely drop them a follow, both really good individuals, both really great streamers, really great runners of the games that they represent. So definitely give them your consideration and follow, as well as my partner in crime, Mr. Trenter_TR. Who helped me commentate this particular race. Trent, it was a pleasure working with you.
It was a pleasure working with you as well. And that said, I want to point the direction also on the opposite. Make sure to give JT Norimaki also a good follow. And I hope you will be back tomorrow, because tomorrow we will have another race at 12 p.m. East. Is that correct?
That is correct. 12 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow we have Kid of Sep versus TKY619 to kind of shore up TKY's run in the group stages. Myself, I have one at 4 p.m. Eastern time against Cabbage Game. That's our rematch from our first matchup where he had a game crash, and we agreed to rerun that particular one to establish an official record there. And Cake Sauce versus Malin at 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So a lot more Shantae to come back tomorrow on varying channels. So keep an eye out for that. And speaking of speed gaming and what's going on right now, we have, of course, a Link to the Past randomizer going on Speed Gaming 3. This channel will have one, but it doesn't start until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so keep an eye out for that. Rockman 2 tournament will be starting on Speed Gaming 2, also at 10 p.m. And then Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland, they also have a race scheduled on Speed Gaming 4. So you can definitely tune in to any of those particular ones and follow the Speed Gaming channels if you're looking for more tournament races and racing action. With that said, unless anyone else has any further words, then we will be signing off, and we wish you a good evening.
Yeah, good game, good race. Thank you both for commentary, and thank you, Mijati, for having the race.
Thanks, Speed Gaming, for hosting. Thank you guys for racing for us. It's always entertaining to catch two talented runners.